So the today's presentation is relating webinars relating with the environment management system for sustainable industrial psychology. So this is a topic which has it is being selected by the others. It's a very apt topic because considering the present scenario and considering the present trends of the environment, etc. So right now these three terminologies like environment, industrial ecology, and management system, both these are now it's an amalgamation of the activities happening in the environment. There's amalgamation of the natural environment, the industrial ecology, and environment system. So this amalgamation is to be considered as very important in the sense that both these three aspects are equally important. Actually, there was a question raised at the end at the seminar. Actually, what is more important? So that I'm going to give you an answer for that. Both the three aspects are important to maintain a sustainable ecosystem. So let me start my presentation. So my presentation actually was divided into three categories. One is a small description about the environment, then about the industrial ecology, as well as for the sustainability. For these three aspects, will be considered as one session. And second session with respect to environment management system, which are focused on ISO 14001. So ISO 14001 is the standard, it's the international standard for environment management system. So I'll be going in, I'll be touching the standards and based on the standards, I will give some live examples and also I'm giving you some case studies of best environmental practice following in many industries in Kerala. So let me start my presentation. So after this presentation, there will be a small video covering this amalgamation of the environment and ecology as well as the systems. So coming to environment, what's the environment? So basically, environment is a sum of the sum total of the all the elements, factors and conditions in the surroundings which is having an effect on environment and also for the development, also for the survival of the organism or for the human beings. So it is simply defined as the external surroundings and the conditions between us, which will directly or indirectly affect the living organism. So basically, environment consists there are two aspects. One is called a biotic factors and abiotic factors. Abiotic factors are the factors where we are having the living components, and the abiotic factors where we have the non-living components. So the biotic factors are further classified into that all living organisms, plant, animals, and microorganisms. Abiotic factors are classified into water, soil, mineral, grass, temperature, humidity, and nutrients, etc. So the environment consists of all these abiotic as a combination of abiotic as well as the biotic factors. And the environment is basically divided into four components. One is an atmosphere, then hydrosphere, then lithosphere, and biosphere. The atmosphere is a mixture of various gases, which and water vapor, is having a major constituents of nitrogen and oxygen in the range of nitrogen is 78% and oxygen 21%, which is extending several thousand kilometers. The hydrosphere is covered with the water. Almost 70% of this earth is covered by water, which is available in sea, ocean, lakes, river, glaciers, etc. And 97% of water is in the oceans and sea, and balance 22% the glaciers and 1% fresh water for the human consumption. Coming to lithosphere, the south of the soil crust is the lithosphere, where we have the plant vegetations, the resources like minerals, organic and inorganic matter, and air and water. And the role of lithosphere includes food for the human beings and animals and the soil. Biosphere actually includes all the living organisms and the environment, which is extended from the lowest seabed to the 20 kilometers. The life supporting resources are available in the biosphere. And this is the area where we have the biotic organism exist and interact with compounds. So next we will go to coming to the environmental degradation. This is a very challenging phenomenon happens in the environment. Basically, everybody in the organism, including men and then human beings as well as animals, they want to have a very peaceful as well as a sustainable environment. To avoid, as part of that, we are deteriorating the environment or degradation of environment is happening without our knowledge also and with our knowledge. So that this area we need to address in very detail. And environmental degradation is defined as the overall lowering of the environmental quality. Quality of the environment is being deteriorated due to the damages happening by the human activities as well as the natural events at the local, regional, and global levels, which will adversely affect the living organisms, including humans. So these are so the environmental degradation which will affect the future of the environment. So this is happened to there are two main reasons for the environmental degradation. First is relating to the consumption of natural resources by overpopulation. is overpopulation, like overconsumption of the natural resources. Second is the wasteful consumption of resources by the developed countries. We are wasting our resources. So our main purpose, our main intention is to optimize the consumption of the resources and also to maintain a resource for the future tomorrow. Next, we'll have the sustainable development. So, sustainable development. So, it is a new terminology that comes to the environment. Sustainable development is a pattern of resources which is required for our living, which aims to prevent the human needs, which also preserve the environment so that the needs can be met not only in the present but also for future generations. It's a balance of between the resources for the human needs for the present as well as for the future. So every generation should leave air, water, and other soil as to be unpolluted as possible. So in that sustainability plays a major role to maintain a ecological systems in a very health and functional manner. So coming to concept of sustainable development. So basically what we have to do to have a sustainable development. First is we have to control the pollution. So pollution means either from industries or well as from generating from our own side, human beings. Second is the reduction of excessive use of resources and the conservation of resources. We have to conserve the resources for the future. Third is recycling and reuse of material for the waste minimization. So we have to do recycling techniques as well as the reuse of the material during our process as well as in every day-to-day activities. Then it's in cleaner fuels and technologies. We have to follow the green technology aspects and the development of good mass transportation facilities to reduce the air pollution. Then effective, we have to use the effective management systems like the environment impact assessment, environment management systems. So these are the basic tools, or is also for environment management audit also there. So these are the various effective tools to have a proper control of the environment. Next, we'll come to industrial ecology. Let us see what is the ecology. So, ecology, industrial ecology. Ecology means it's a balance of between the man, human, and animal system. Now, the industrial ecology means the flow of materials and energy in the industrial and consumer activities, which will have the effect of flow on the environment and which will influence the economic, political, regulatory, and social aspect on the flow, use, and transformation of the resources. We have to reuse the resources, transform this into some other manner, and to reuse or reduce or recycle so that we will preserve the natural resources at the maximum possible for the future generations. So what we have to do is we have to follow the principle of reduce, reuse, and recycle. So many industries they can share their this waste materials as well as resources so that we can have a proper standardized ecological system in place. So the primary goal of industrial ecology is to promote sustainable development at all levels, like local, regional, national, and global levels. So basically, industrial ecology is a very dynamic system. It's a framework which enables the management of human activities to be in a sustainable basis. It is achieved by means of minimizing the energy and material usage. That is first number one. Second point is ensuring the adapt quality of life for people. Third is minimizing the ecological impact of human activities to the natural ecosystem. Fourth is maintaining the economical viability of the systems for the industry. And fifth is trade. And so we have to have an optimum of all these aspects to have a proper industrial ecology. So this is a process which shows like so it's an industrial ecological process, which is a chain reaction. It's all like if you have a industry, so that industry which produces something. So they actually extract the resources from the nature, and after production they make it as a consumption. After consumption, there will be good product which is coming as a their product, and there will be waste material which is coming as a which is to be recycled, and the waste generated from the process that also to be recycled, and that's being fed to a secondary production unit, where the secondary production unit supplies the raw material to the industry, which is manufacturing the product. So here the concept of recycling and reducing comes now. So whatever waste generated from the unit one, that is production unit, is being recycled, consumed, recycled, and less resources has been extracted from the environment, and also it has been the waste etc. has been recycled to have a proper raw material or to find a suitable byproduct. And coming to the next level of consumption called a secondary consumption, where we have the secondary production, the raw material for the secondary production has been received from the waste generated from the either from the consumption of the production or from the secondary production unit, etc. So that is being recycled or reused, and with the waste we are using, consuming with the resources, we are using the raw materials for the secondary consumption of material, which act as a raw material for the secondary production. Secondary production unit generates the material or resources which will be useful for the production unit one. So this basically is for industrial symbiosis process where we use the resources, waste, recycling, etc. So like this method of sharing the between the industries of their resources, no? So we will be able to maintain a ecosystem. So most of the industries well follow the system. The waste from one industry is being taken as raw material for the other industry, and also the waste generated from the process being 100% utilized for converting this byproduct, etc. So this industrial ecological process, if you maintaining sustainability, is ensured by implementing this system in place. So some of the practical applications is actually the nutrient cycling, then the concentrated toxins which is being stored during the system level that being synthesized, and this can be used for recycle or can be used for some individual for a species or a specific purpose. And each member of the ecosystem should have multiple functions. So industry as considered as a living system within the living system. Living system within living systems. That means each level of industries act as a living system, participating in the larger natural systems, and with the using the principles and dynamics of ecosystem, and with the approach called life cycle thinking. We have to maintain the life cycle approach, because the life we have to think not the present scenario, life cycle approach we have to think, and we have to solve the problems which will understand the context between these systems. So this industrial ecosystem, the benefits are reduction in the waste material, reduction in the pollution, increase the energy efficiency, and volume of waste product generation and the disposal. So let us see what the green economy. So green economy is basically it is a balance. The amalgamation of the natural environment, ecology, and environment systems are being done with the support of green economy. So green economy is which is considered as a low carbon, resource efficient, and socially inclusive system. And green technology is also called environmental technology. It is the application of these environmental sciences to conserve the natural environment as well as the resources which will have negative effect on the environment. So let us see what are there are 7 R's. This is the management principle is called 7 R's in green technology. One is reduce, then replace, then resources, recycle, reuse, repair, reliable. So all these 7 R's, the 7R concept which is used for implementation of green technology in an organization. So basically green technology, green economy is basically the clean energy concept which comprising of renewable energy, green building, energy efficient in building, and recycling of waste energy. So now there's a concept of green building, because to increase the efficiency of the buildings and the use of energy, water, and other materials in an optimum manner, and also to have the impact on the human health and environment is now the concept called the green building concept has been implemented. So how to go green? Let us see. First, reduce pollution, conserve resources, conserve energy, then reduce consumption and waste, and we have to protect the ecological balance. So let us see what are the ways to go green. First is recycle your cellular phone, or we have to use our waste, electronic waste to the maximum possible, either by handling e-waste properly, or we have to have a new principle called the extended producer's responsibility, that we have to collect the waste from these recyclers, or we have to reuse this for other applications, and also we have to buyback system. It's called buyback system, which we can dispose of our cell phones, etc. We have to recycle that to the maximum possible. Second is keep the bottled water. We have to avoid the bottling water, and we can use the reusable aluminum bottles. Then reduce the showering time. We can reduce the water consumption. Then buy locally. We can have a do not use a pesticide, and we can produce organic foods which can use for maintaining the sustainability. Then put on the sweater for maintaining for controlling the temperature, etc. So let us see what are the green environment initiatives. Actually, it is to make the use of diversity and ecosystem services. Then forest. So forest plays a major role in the green investment, which improves the ecosystem services. And renewable energy. Now we are actually tapping the other sources of renewable energy for our industries as for daily beings, and also manufacturing. We have now the concept is called green manufacturing, which is very profitable in the sense which increase the employment, reduce the pressure on the environment, also which have other effects. And also the benefits of greening the waste, the natural resources, then creation of new business, then compost production, reduce emissions, and control equity and poverty eradication. And transport system, we can avoid the pollution due to greenhouse gas emission, reduce road accidents, and cities also we have environmental, social, and economic consequences. Now, actually, we say now it's a carbon. Basically, it's a concept called a carbon cycle. So, another concept is called green grid. That actually is a consortium developed by the developing countries for energy efficient from for data centers and information service delivery by using a user-centric models and metrics, and which develop standards, then measurement of standards and new technologies to improve the energy efficient systems. Now let us see what are about the environment management system. So one part is just as over. Second part is the most critical of this today's webinar is the environment management system. So basically, there are so many management systems for a specific purpose. So there's a standard called ISO 14001. It's an international standard which is a standard which deals with the environment management system. So basically, environment management system is a part of organization's management system, which is used to develop and implement the environment policy and manage the environmental aspect. So every organization, before implementation of the environment management system, they should have a policy called environment policy, and they have to manage the environment aspect. So these are the two main criteria for implementation of environment management system. One is a policy should be in place, and the environment how then management of environment aspect, which we're going to cover in detail. And management system is a set of interrelated elements which is helpful for establishing the policy of the organization. Policy is basically simply is a commitment by the top management where they are more conserving the environment, and then more concerned on the environment within the industry as well as the outside industry. So the policy established the interrelated elements of the environment system, and based on the policies, the environment objectives and programs are framed to ensure that the environment systems are built in place and it can be measured quantitatively. So these are the main criteria for implementation of environment management. We should have a policy in place, and we should have a setting up of a managing an environmental aspect. And this includes the planning. Mainly the management system includes the organizational structure of the organization, planning activities relating to environment, the responsibilities of individuals with respect to environment, then best practices, procedures, process, and resources. All these are the various requirements needed for the implementation of environment management system. So let us see what is EMS. EMS is called an environment management system. This is a continual process of planning. So basically, environment system is a continual process. It's not a continuous. So we mean what is the difference between continuous and continual? Continual is a step-by-step improvement. So basically, this standard is a improvement. It's an improvement tool with respect to environment, and this is a continual improvement process. Means step by step. Once you attain a particular level, sustain there for quite a period of time, then we have to move to the next level. So this the standard. All the quality management system standard focus on continual improvement, continual focus, which focus on planning, implementing, reviewing, and improving. So that is called a PD or cycle is called a PDCA cycle. Plan, do, check, act. First, you might have studied in your management papers. Planning. First, we have to plan, then we have to do. Do is called implementing the actions to avoid the deterioration of the environment. Then review how the implementation is effective or not. It's called a review mechanism. And improving whether there is any scope for improvement of the actions so as to meet the environmental goals and objectives. So basically, based on the policies, environmental policies, we are deriving environmental goals or objectives to reduce the environment impact so that the impact level will be coming down. So that's called an environment management system or called EMS. So it is a continual management system of planning, implementing, reviewing, and improving the environmental performance of an organization. So let us see what are the benefits by implementation of all. Now the environment management system is being implemented in all industries, hospitals, schools, colleges, everywhere, because actually it's a commitment by the management to showcase that they are more concerned about the environment. So now almost mostly engineering colleges, they are also certified for ISO. Most majority of them certified for ISO 9001 is a quality management system, also 14,000 also. So the benefits is to maintain the compliance, to reduce the operation compliance with respect to the environmental legislation, reduce the operating costs, then to integrate the environmental programs into mission, employee involvement, reduce environmental impact, then prevent pollution and emission reduction, better control of management of waste, then deterioration of the environment reduction, then environmental risk reduction. So basically, the model says that basically you might have studied about unit operation. You have a raw material and as a services. The raw material is being converted to product through different unit operation process. Same similarly the case with as well as the environment management system process also. There are a lot of unit operations like painting, chemical process, maintenance, so many things. So that we require raw materials, we require air or water, so we require power, so we require recycling of materials happening. We also require the suppliers for the material supply of raw materials. So all the resources, all the utilities needed for the unit operation that we are actually we are consuming it from the nature, so that it is getting polluted, and the output we are getting it as product. Then we have the byproduct which can be sold or can be used as an intermediary for other purpose. Then water getting the water used in the process being coming in as the wastewater. Then the gas which we are using for process being converted as gaseous emissions. Then the water or is used coming as a liquid waste, and we have accidents, we have the noise and other pollution, and the solid waste management finally, and the accidents in health suffering. So this basically a model which represents the environment management system, how a raw material, the process being converted through a unit operation to a product, plus the emissions from the environment, from the relating to the environment. Then this model, this ISO 14001 model, actually the standard, now the concept is they are telling about life cycle perspective. Life cycle, actually.
Some people are not audible. So is it possible to use a headphone? Headphone on that.
Yeah.
If possible, please use a headphone so that it becomes audible to all.
Is it audible to all?
Yeah, earlier it was some found it difficult. No,
Okay.
it was not reaching them. Some of them. If you have an headphone,
Okay.
use that.
Okay. So then coming to the life cycle perspective, so actually the standard, this environment management system is now asked for the life cycle approach. The life cycle approach in the sense we have to take the product. Earlier the standard says that. But is it audible now? Is it audible?
Yes, sir, it's audible.
So the life cycle approach basically deals that. So whatever the materials which we are using for our process, like raw materials, and we are converting this to product. The product base, right from the life cycle, the entire life cycle of the product, the disposal that we have to take care of. Whoever manufactures the product, they have to be responsible for maintaining the waste generation and even at the right disposal. Even like disposal, the sense the product final disposal by the customer. So that has been taken care by the manufacturer. So like that, there are a lot of regulations happen, like plastic waste, etc. That is the responsibility of the manufacturer. That's called extended producer's responsibility. They have to take care of the plastic waste, or they have to recycle or take back the plastic waste after the consumption. So like that, this standard says that the life cycle approach, that the manufacturer or whoever generating the plastic waste, either in terms of a product or a raw material, etc., they are responsible for the acquisition of raw materials, etc., and including their final disposal. So this is being considered as a life cycle approach, the end of the life treatment and the final disposal of the waste from all the operations that should be taken care of the manufacturer. So that is called a life cycle approach, and ISO 14001 standard focus more on life cycle perspective. So now let us see what are the requirements for the ISO 14000. These are new requirements because the standard was revised once in every 7 years. Now the lot of regulations changes are happening considering the present scenario. So now the changes happened is the new requirement called understanding the organization, the context. The context of the organization should be defined so that the waste generation and all the aspects will be taken care in detail. So that this is a new concept. Understanding that we are going to come in detail. Secondly, the organization should understand the needs and expectations of interested parties. We will be coming there. Interested parties mean are the people or the stakeholders who are associated with the industry or any organization. Like in a college means parents, school teachers, then other management. All these part of the interested parties. So their needs and expectations of the interested parties should be defined and it should be understandable with respect to environment. The needs and expectations of the interested parties on environment that should be addressed, and we have to be addressed. They should be addressed. Then we have to identify this as whether it's a risk or not, and we have to take action for their needs and expectations and should be informed to the interested parties. So this is the new requirement of the standard. The leadership and commitment is known. Then action to address the risk and opportunities. The risk and opportunities means many of the environmental activities which has been classified as risk, and some of them mean opportunities. And some of the risk has been identified by the needs and expectations of the parties who have been raising the complaint with respect to environment. And we have to take action to address the risk and opportunities, and also improvement. Improvement, I told you, is a mandatory requirement of the standard. So these are the various clauses which I'm not going in detail. The scope of which is about the standard, scope of system, environment management system, environment policy, then action to address the risk and opportunities, then environmental objectives, compliance, then communication, operation planning and control, emergency preparedness and plan, very important, monitoring, measurement and control, evaluation of compliance, then implementation of internal audits, management review, corrective and preventive action, which we will be going in detail about all these aspects. So these are steps involved in the ISO 14001. So basically, the basic skeleton of an environment management system is an environmental policy, which is a commitment by the management, which is written on as some statements, and which should be displayed, which should be signed by the top management of the company, and this should be displayed within the organization as well as the public, also the public, to ensure that the companies or the organization is more commitment to the public also. So this environment policy is called environmental policy. That's the first step in the implementation of ISO 14001 standard. Second is we should have a planning, environment system planning. For that, we should have an environmental aspect. Then we have to ensure the legal aspect. Legal means we should have a concern with the pollution control board. We have the concern like air pollution, water pollution, then solid waste management, noise pollution, etc. So there will be an agreement between the industry or an organization with the pollution control board, that being signed through a process called a concern, integrated concern given by the pollution control board. And based on that, all the legal and other requirements pertaining to the standard, and also to all the local standards pertaining to the industry or any other organization, that should be there to keep in follow. Then, so environmental policy is converted to objectives, targets, and programs. Next, we should have an implementation operation. That's the third phase, which includes the roles. We have to define the roles and responsibilities of all the people. Then documentation. Then we have to control the documentation. Then we should have a training system. Our employees or organizational team members should be trained on awareness on environment system should be given. Then we should have an operational control. How we are controlling the environmental activities. What is our current system of control through our standard operating procedures or through SOPs. That's called a standard operating procedures, or through procedures to ensure that the environment impact is controlled. And we have an environment emergency plan. Then all these are the implementation. After implementation, this should be checked for effectiveness. That is, we have to have a monitoring system. Like we have to monitor the level of emission, like air emission. We have to measure the level of sulfur dioxide, then carbon monoxide, then NOx, then water. Regarding water, we have to measure all the parameters like treated water, effluent gases like pH, suspended solids, biological BOD, COD, delta nitrogen. All there are a lot of parameters for water quality measurement. Also for sound, we have the noise level, and also for the solid waste, we have elementary analysis. So all this to be checked, and effectiveness of the operation to be verified. And if any changes are there, that should be part of an objective or as a part of policy, and that should be implemented. And next step is the environmental management system should be reviewed by at a defined frequency by the top management. It's called a management review meeting. There should be a specific agenda. So this management review meeting will decide the further course of action for the implementation of management system, which will provide the support or resources for the implementation of the system. So these are the various steps in the implementation. We will come each and all. First, the policy. I told you the environmental policy is a commitment by the organization about the specific requirements and the application. And the policy has been signed by the chief executive, and the implementation and maintain the improve the EMS. And there should be some keywords also there that I will show you. I will show you a sample policy, environment policy, and which ensure the conformance to standard. And this environment policy demonstrate compliance to others through certification or self-declaration. Environment policy. Self-declaration has been done by the CEO or the top management, which give compliance to the others and to give a commitment to the others. Then overall intention and the direction of the organization on the environmental performance will be expressed by the top management through the policy. And the policy provides a framework for the action and setting of the environmental objectives and targets. And based on that, we'll form a program for 6 months or a 1 year. And once the objective has been taken, completed, and that will be taken as a part of the system. So that is called an operational control procedure. Once from the policy, we are deriving an environmental objective. So the implementation of environmental objective is done through an environmental management program. Program will be reviewed at defined frequencies, and once the program is completed, that will be taken as a part of the system. And once the part of the system is changed, that will be done as a part of improvement in the environment system. And based on that, if you have further scope for improvement of policies based on the system, we can have it in the next review. So the requirements I told you about, the nature and scale of the environment activity should be defined for defining a policy. Second, the framework. Then it is a commitment for reduction of pollution and the compliance of all the legal requirements there. So these four aspects will be coming in the policy of any of the organization. The policy can be any statement, like one statement or two statements, but there are some keywords like to reduce the environment impact, then setting up environmental objectives, then reduction of pollution, then commitment to reduce the legal requirement. That should be also be part of. So these are the various attributes which we are using for designing an environmental policy. The policy should be documented, implemented, maintained, and it should be communicated to all persons working for or on behalf of the organization, for our people or other contract people or whoever people working on behalf of the organization. The policy should be communicated and should be available to the public. That's why all the organizations should provide a board on the outside of near the boundary wall, which is leading to the outside the board, so that it is accessible to all the public. This is the commitment. I told you about the commitment of the top policy, commitment to the protection of environment, and the legal aspect, and should be communicated. So these are sample policies called as this is a policy both safety, health, and environment is covered. So in environment policy, there's a commitment by the top manager, which is signed by. This is our policy, which is not. This is not a current policy; it has been changed. So I'm just keeping the old. This is an old policy, and the policy it is mentioned that is the organization is committed to protect the environment through monitoring and control of the impact of activities, products, and services on a continual basis. This continual word should be there in the policy. Then control of impact of activity should be there in the policy. Then all legal requirements that should be there in the policy. Then pollution mitigation that also should be there in the policy. Pollution control. Then conservation of. Then other things are all not there, but it's not mandatory. But here it is provided. Conserving of materials, energy, and reduce the waste at source, and encouraging the use of renewable energy source. That is not there. As a standard says these four aspects are there, but we can have other aspects. It's a commitment by the top management as a part of policy. Is it audible? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's audible.
Yes, it's audible.
So the next I told you about continuous improvement definition. This standards I told you is improvement, step-by-step improvement of environmental performance in the organization. Interested parties who are working on behalf of the organization is called interested party. This is a terminology used in environment management system. Next is the planning. I told you about planning aspect, legal requirement, objectives will come each by one. Environment aspect. So aspect basically identifies what are the environmental aspects relating to the activities. Like if you have an organized industry or if you have a college, in your college, the aspect which you can identify is the generation of paper waste or disposal of waste. So that's or disposal of battery waste or disposal of your e-waste or waste, electronic waste. All these are environmental aspects. So all the organization, they have to identify and establish and implement a system to maintain a procedure for the identification of aspects of the activities, products, or services within their boundaries, within their activities. We have to identify the aspects. Like for industry is considered the discharge of water, that's an aspect. Wastewater, then the emission of from the emissions on the stack. So that's like then the disposal of solid waste. Like that, all the industries we have to, even though the aspects are very simple, we have to identify that, and based on that, we have to give a scoring. There's a scoring called. I'm not going in very detail. Severity of the severity of the aspect. Then we have to find how frequently the aspect is happened. These detection, whether it can be detected by or human eyes or through other sense organs or through any other monitoring mechanism. So based on that, we are giving a scoring, SOD. The scoring is high, that means it is a very critical environmental, this is called a significant aspect. Or significant aspect means the aspect which is having a high severity scoring, like SOD, high S into O into D. This is called SOD score. If SOD score is more, and then it is called a more significant. And if the interested parties, who are the staying in the people, the nearby people, or the any well-wishers of the organization, if they are raising a complaint or their needs and expectations, that also is a significant. Their needs and expectations are being communicated to the organization, that also is significant. That means even though the score is less, since they are raising as a concern, we have to take an action. So that's also an environmental aspect. So first we have to identify the environmental aspects relating to the organization. Then we have to give a scoring aspect. Then we have to identify whether the risk, we have to identify the risk, whether it's a high risk or a low risk or a medium risk. And based on that, we have to identify whether it is a significant aspect or a non-significant. Significant means the scoring is high, and also the severity is sometimes the score may be less, but the severity of this environmental aspect is very high. Then that also is high. We have to take it as a significant aspect. Scoring, that is the criteria is severity high, then scoring high, then where it's a interested party concern, then we have to take it in action. Then, so this is the first aspect, environmental aspect. So every organization has to identify the environmental aspect and be given a score. So that's the basic. First, they should have a policy. Based on the policy, they have to arrive at the environmental aspects and impact related to the activities, and scoring should be given. And which of the aspects we should be taken as critical or a significant aspect should be identified, and action to be taken by through taken as an objective or a program to reduce the environmental aspect. So once the aspect has been taken as an objective, then after implementation, the severity rating or occurrence rating will come down, or S into D will come down after implementation. So that that's a commitment by the management that our S into O into D is coming down. So that means we are environmentally, we have taken action to control the emission or environmental deterioration. So in fact, I will tell you, then the various source of pollution is air, water, solid, and we have to reduce all the sort of pollution. And there are other environmental problems like global warming. Then we are not going in detail. Acid rain, water quality, noise, then visual impact and incidents, etc. We are coming. Then issues for industries: air pollution, water reuse. Now it's mandatory that all industries should reuse the water to the 100%. Now the process through a process called reverse osmosis. Now all the industries, they are recycling the water for gardening, etc. Now the Pollution Control Board has given stringent norms to reuse the water for process applications like that. So it's called by implementation of different techniques called ultrafiltration and RO, reverse osmosis. Then we have other like radiological waste, biological waste that is pertaining to specific industries. Then accidents and environmental emergencies. Then interface with the other health and safety issues, etc. So the next is the legal record. I told you there should be an organization should have a legal system in place or a legal register which will address all the legal requirements relating to the sometimes it may be a legal and sometimes maybe it is a requirement from the government or through the other people. So that is called a legal and other requirements, which is the requirements which are not directly relating to the environment. Other requirements like the local government is giving a requirement like sound pollution or something. So that also we have to take care. So legal and all we should have a legal register and a system to address that. All these are addressed in our agreement with the Pollution Control Board or the concern given by the Pollution Control Board to the industry. And the legal compliance also should be communicated to the Pollution Control Board, and there should be a system of implementation of communication and also review of the legal requirements of the organization at a defined frequency. Normally it is done once in a month or once in a quarter. So these are legal requirements. So other policies are a corporate policy of the organization. The company is having some policy. Then other regulatory beyond the regulatory compliance. Then local agreement, then customer requirements. So all these are other requirements, which is also a part of the EMS. Then compliance obligation, I told you, legal requirements, the organization shall maintain document information, all the documents of the compliance obligation, their license, then the renewal dates, etc. Everything should be there. Next is the objectives. So once we have the objectives and we identify the environmental management system, we should have an objectives, targets, and program. I told you this is we say actually based on the policies we are giving we are quantifying the aspects like reduction of waste by 20% from the last year, reduction of emission from this much percentage. Like that, this is called the objectives, which is this quantitatively we are defining how much emissions or how much pollution we are controlling down. So that is being taken by the organization, and this objective will be taken for a period of 1 month, or the implementation of the objectives can be made through a program which is being reviewed as and when needed. And once the program is effectively completed, that will be done as a part of the system. And the core objective should be measurable. And should be consistent with the policy. It is consistent with the policy and the commitment regarding the pollution or prevention, etc. And the impact on environmental impact. So it should be established and maintained program based on the policy. We have to establish program, and we have to provide a time frame for the implementation of objectives as well as the program, and the responsibility for the objectives and program. And these objectives should be communicated, monitored, and updated as and when needed. So we should have a planning system for implementation of the objective. For that, we have to provide some resources needed and responsibility of that, and the program, what should be done. That should be mentioned in the program. So like policy, from the policy, we are deriving objectives, and the objectives we are putting the different programs, so that we are making as different targets, objectives. Then the objectives through the targets, it is being defined as programs. So once and responsibility is given, environmental policy responsibility, the top management. Then this objectives by the top management, or it's called a management representative who is responsible for implementation of environmental management system. The targets responsibilities by the head of the departments of the organization and the other executives. So that's responsibility programs. So policy objectives, then it should be legal. So objectives, you can take it either a policy can be taken as an objective which is measurable. Then legal aspect can be taken risk assessment through the environment impact assessment. Then monitoring, based on the monitoring, if the values are on the higher side, we can take as an objective. Then the management audit, environment management audit, we can take as an objective. Next, the resources. So it's not much covering in detail. So there are resources like manpower, then money, etc., and the infrastructure, etc., for the technological resource for the implementation of EMS. These are the resources I told you. Support and resources is needed. The leadership. Leadership is the commitment. I told you it's an accountability of the effectiveness of the implement. So the policy, they are constantly monitoring the objectives, status of the objectives, then resources needed for implementation of EMS, then communication to the all employees about the requirement, and promoting the concept of continual improvement. Then context of the context means now the organization should identify all the external and internal issues relating to the operation with respect to the environment system, and we should have a well-defined criteria for addressing the issues. So that comes under the organization of context and the context with respect to the environment. Then I told you about the needs and expectations of interested parties is needed. Interested parties means shareholders, employees, customers, then the suppliers, regulatory bodies, all these are the interested parties. We have to address the needs and expectations of the interested parties, and their needs and expectations are converted to risk, which is internal or external risk. That is being taken as a significant aspect, and that we will be taken action to reduce the risk. So once the action is taken, again we have to do the SOD scoring, so that severity will remain same, occurrence will come down, detection also will not be changed. So only the occurrence level will come down. So S into O into D will come down once you implement the environmental action. So there are some record formats how to it is given know that what are the needs and expectations of the interested parties, whether it is priority, and what level the action to be taken by the organization. The EMS resource I told you financial, that's the next clause. Human resource, skill, technology, financial, organizational resources are needed. The standard says about management representative who is responsible for implementation of the ISO 14001 in the organization. It's called a management representative. Next part is very important: competence, training, and awareness. Employees are given training on the environmental policy, procedure, and requirement on EMS and their significant aspects and their roles and responsibilities, and with respect to environment, and what are the benefits of the environment, improved performance, and what is the consequence of the departure from the procedures. So this employees should be given in the training in the areas of the environment, the policy, objective, etc., so that they are more competent or their awareness level is high. So that's a competency. Awareness, they should be given awareness through training or through display boards or through communication through different manners. Communication channels are there in the organization called internal communication, also external communication, and they should be communicated, etc. So the top management should communicate the environment impact or assessment or policy or objectives or through various forums. So actually, this is a communication forum. Like it is called an aforementioned program. Our company is having that, or every company is having a concern on the protect the environment, also to have the reduce the greenhouse gaseous emissions, and also to have the plant trees. So our company there's a aforementioned program called as Prathivanam, where our return people plant tree in the company premises every month. Now other people are taking care of these trees, etc. So this afforestation program is called this as part of the implementation of the EMS or communication, which is being returned for the employees. They will try and plant. The board is kept there, and other people will take care of the tree. This being system has implemented for the last 8 to 10 years. Then there is a new system for communication. So there will be a forum called a safe forum, eco safe forum, environmental safe forum. So there will be from each department there will be one safety forum or environment forum, which they conduct a lot of programs, and they actually act as an intern communication to the employees through the forum members. So there will be leader, there will be so actually the communication channel is there will be the corporate level. We have a management review committee, that's the top management. Then we have an employee management committee. Then the department we have a safety forum. There will be 7 safety forum in each department, and is having a facilitator leader, and they do a lot of programs relating to environment, also address the environmental issues relating to the environment to the departments. So next, the documentation. So simple documentation means we have to provide all the whatever standards and procedures. We have to make the documents which is being addressed, which is being addressed to all, and it should be easily implemented, it should be easily understood, etc. And the people should be given training based on the documentation. So the document should be controlled. There should be one custodian for the document. So that is being there. The document should be approved, reapproved, and it should be reviewed once in 2 or 3 years, and should be easily identifiable. And we have to give it the revision. What the need for any changes given. So the revision number is given with the specific dates, etc. Then there are some external document also is there as part of system. Then we have to make a proper system of control distribution of the documents. So basically, the document or every organization for implementation of the environment system, they should have a policy, policy. Then I told you about the procedure. The organization as a whole has a procedure document. It is called a standard operating manual, which contains the entire procedures of the organization. And at department level, there will be standard operating procedures. Then based on that, records or drawings, that is part of the system. So these are the hierarchy of there will be hierarchy at 4 levels in an organization for implementation of EMS. One is the policy, second is the manual of the organization, environment manual, then department level environment manual, then drawings, records pertaining to the activities. So that is also a part of the document. So this is the hierarchy of the document. It's a pyramid approach. So next we will have the records. It's called creating and updating. We have to make a records. Records should be easily legible, and they should be written, and they should not be overwriting, and it should be properly reviewed at different stages. So that is called. Then the risk and opportunity. I told you the new standard, the ISO environment standard. Hello. The environment standard says about the risk and opportunity. We have to address all the risk and environmental risk. The risk is arising from the environmental aspect impact which we are getting, or also the needs and expectations of the industrial parties, or any complaints given by the other outsiders with respect to environment. So that is being taken as a risk. Sometimes the risk may be opportunities. Sometimes it may be opportunities. So we have taken action to address reduce the risk and opportunities through the SOD, severity occurrence detection, and the risk should be come down. So the risk is then it is called acceptable risk. The risk is coming down, it's called acceptable risk, and should have a particular number for the risk. What is the current level target for this year, and what next year, what is the risk? So that is given a commitment by the organization to reduce the environmental risk. So every organization should given a commitment or a target for the environmental risk for all the activities. So we have to address the risk at a different level, and there's a record for maintenance of the risk. What action taken, who is responsible. So this is how the risk register is maintained. Then operation is very important. Operation control procedure. Operation control means it is relating to operation. What are the procedures which we are doing? So we should have a well-defined procedure: what to do, when to do, and what time to do when there's an environmental concern. So that's called operational control. So that can be done by using a procedure or a flow diagram or a sequence or a chart or through a chart or a schedule. So we can have a system or operating systems or procedures to reduce the environmental risk. So that is done through an operational control procedure. That's called an OCP, operational control procedure, which includes all the stakeholders like and interested parties, etc. And which includes the even this final disposal of the product. There should be a standard operating procedure for disposing the final product also. So let us see, as part of operation, we have an effluent treatment plant. Are you aware of the effluent treatment plant process? So I will just go in detail. Actually, the basic effluent treatment plant in the industry consisting of a different process. Like we have a collection tank where all the effluents are coming down, and there will be a mixing channel where the effluent may be acidic or alkaline. First, we have to mix with the lime to make it alkaline. This is called a coagulating agent. Then we have to make it as a propylating agent by adding an acidic reagent like perchloride or alum or something. Then the flocks will be settled down in a primary settling tank. Then the sludge will be removed in a sludge drying bed. Then we have an aeration tank where we have the aeration for the mildly dissolved or providing oxygen for the dissolved organics in the wastewater. Then the secondary settling, the overflow of the water is coming to the secondary settling tank. Then we have the chemical oxidation tank where we are providing chlorination process. Then we have the sand filter. It's a final tertiary treatment process. Sand filter, we have the bed of sand and soil and with gravel, etc. Then we have an activated carbon filter, an activated carbon, etc. for final treatment of the polished water, for treatment of the treated water. And the water is the clear discharge of water, clean water, following the parameters of the pollution control board. And the new system, actually, it's a new technology like it's a polyelectrolyte in the effluent treatment process, which will reduce the sludge generation. So almost the sludge reduction you can make it as 40 to 50% by implementation of that. And I think you have studied in your mechanical operation like grid cum screen chamber. So for removal of the floating waste from the canteen or bar screens, etc., we have provided, etc., which will remove the coarse particles from the wastewater before feeding to the waste treatment plants. And we have an oil skimmer where the waste oil from the wastewater or from the canteen is being skimmed through a oil skimmer, and the waste oil is being collected separately, and that will be sold as a hazardous waste to the approved recyclers of the pollution control board. Pollution control board will provide the recycler who will be taking back the oil for other applications like manufacture of lubricant waste oil or lubricant, etc. And we dispose the waste oil from the oil skimmer. So this is a polymeric belt which will transmit the oil from the bottom of the wastewater from the oil skimmer tank to the separate container. Then there is a douche filter. This filter actually is a vacuum filtration which will remove the sludge from the wastewater before feeding to the wastewater treatment plant. Because the sludge is there, it should affect the efficiency of the effluent treatment operation. For that, we are providing a douche filter press, which is a vacuum filtration. It's a plate and frame. There are a lot of plates are there, but through vacuum filtration, the solid sludge is retained on the bed, and the filtrate is going back to the collection tank of the ETP. So there are standards specific for each of the parameters of the pollution control board, and based on that, we have to ensure that all the parameters are very well within the limit. The control of air pollution and noise pollution, that also is there. We can have a noise control meters and also the oxygen ammonia meters, etc. to reduce, and we can provide to avoid the sound. We can provide acoustic enclosures and continuous monitoring. That's called work area monitoring. Work environment monitoring systems can be implemented. Now this is a new system. Like most of the industries now providing furnace liquefied LNG in place of natural gasoline. So natural gasoline is used for the manufacture for the production of steam in boilers. So now it is a clean fuel, LNG, liquefied gasoline at a temperature of minus 165 degrees centigrade is used as a fuel for the boiler operation. It's a clean fuel, and there will be no emission from this tank. So if you measure the level of pollutant, it is sulfur dioxide 0 ppm, SPM, suspended particulate matter 0, carbon monoxide 0. There's no emission from this tank. So now most of the industries in Kerala, they are implemented, and so through the process called LNG, liquefied natural gasoline, which this is the process. Liquefied natural gasoline is being it is stored at a temperature of minus 165 degrees centigrade, sent to the pipeline, vaporized, and it is sent as a feed to the boiler. So there are various operations for ETP operation. And the biogas, most of the companies are having biogas for the disposal of the canteen waste. So I'll take 5 minutes. Biogas actually is a waste for a generation of solid waste from the canteen, etc. So that is being converted as a fuel for our. Actually, for our company, we are generating almost 27 cylinders monthly from the biogas plants for the waste generation. We have a capacity of 25 MQ, and also we have a system of biogas power generator. We are having the lighting almost 12 hours in the surrounding of the factory using this power generator for the biogas plant that is being stored in the bio power generator, and we have a 5 kVA biogas capacity power generation is happening. It is used for lighting the lamp in the surrounding of the factory. The next is the very important for you. It's an environment emergency preparedness plan. If you have an emergency action, like if you have an overflow of effluent treatment plan, or if you have an overflow waste treatment plan, or excess emission to this stack, so that's called an emergency. So how we are tackling the emergency. For that, we should have a system to people should be trained if such a emergency happens. So actually, we do an emergency plan. It's a mock drill. We do a mock drill which will see what the employees will do if an overflow of effluent treatment plan happens or emission happens from the boiler, etc. So we should have a procedure. If an emergency plan and the procedures and who will be responsible, what is the responsibility each of the people to tackle the emergency situation, and the people how they have to tackle the situation, so that we have an emergency. All the owners have an environment emergency setup. Who is responsible for the emergency controller? Then additional chief emergency controller. Then environment emergency controller. Then transport. The transportation should be needed. Then safety and fire sometimes also the fire coordinator should be there. So all these are part of an environmental emergency plan. And this phone number, this will be displayed in all organizations with the phone numbers of the personal responsible, and they should tackle the situation. Even the security people. So these are example of a mock drill we are conducted. We have also the ETP tank. Actually, we have done this is a team from TKM Engineering College, chemical engineering students. So when they came for visit, we can arrange the environmental mock drill on ETP overflow. And based on that, we have reviewed the plan, and the plan will be reviewed on a frequent basis, and employees will be given training also. It's also a plan overflow. Now this overflow of the tank happens in the other tank. So based on that, we made a review. Everything was controlled within 5 to 10 minutes, and all the action which operators they handle the situation very efficiently. And based on that, we made a review after the mock drill. And based on that, we made an emergency plan. How there's an overflow happen, what are the procedures to be done, who should be contacted, all this should be documented and displayed. So these are how we are tackling emergency situations in an organization, especially with respect to environment. So performance of the environment, like we have a standard operating procedure, we have to measure the performance, like wastewater treatment characteristics, then their more performance has been one. Then this is a new system which we have, it is our own. It's our own. So this system has been implemented by myself. We made an environmental index of the company. On a monthly basis, we are doing an index. Quarterly basis, we are doing an index. So considering the environmental impact on our activities like air, noise, land, food, there's a checklist, and also we have a scoring criteria is there, and all the waste management, then the pollution, all the level. So this is called environmental indexing. This is done. Is actually this now as we are communicating this to pollution control board, they are also being done for all the industries, etc. So this is the first time which we have done. So this measures the impact of environment or impact of our activities in the organization during this quarter, etc. So every week now the initially start with the low value. Now the trend, now we are having the range from 0 to 1. Now we are having the range up to 0.85 to 0.9. That range we are having. So this is done on a quarterly basis. Then evaluate. Then after once you implement the aspects, then compliance. We have to evaluate the compliance with respect to legal requirements. Once we have an internal standard, so that also whether are we meeting the standard, etc. That should be periodically evaluated. That is called evaluation of compliance. The internal audit. So the environment management system is being monitored. Performance is managed through the internal audit system. Internal audit system by a team of people who have been trained auditors, which will they through the environmental standards, they will audit the system and to ensure that the compliance is there, the standard system, and everything is going in the right direction. And any non-conformance relating to the action of the environment system, that will be reporting as a non-conformity during the audit. There's a separate plan for that. Management review, I told you about the review by the top management about the environment management system. This will be done once in 6 months or 1 year by the management to ensure that the continuing and stability of the environment management system, and all the issues. There will be a specific agenda like issues, the needs and expectations of interested parties, any risk and opportunity. All this will be addressed in the management review meeting. They provide the resources and monitoring of measurements they will be reviewing. Then all the corrective action, improvement, they will be verified. So this is how the waste treatment plan. Actually, I told you about this ecological balance. No, actually, in our waste treatment plan, we have a pond. I think some of you might have seen there. I mean, Radhakrishnan sir and some of the people from SCT, they have visited here, this our ETP, etc. And we have the waste treatment is going into a pond here. So we provide ducks and swans here. And ducks and swans, they actually drink this treated effluent water, and they use the canteen waste for our food, and they are surviving. They are surviving for the last 8 to 10 years. If you not remember, no, they multiply their species, and they offsprings, no, like like we put 2, 3 ducks and swans. Now they're multiplied by their numbers, and they are drinking the treated effluent water for drinking and having food from canteen. Now even 8 to 10 year old ducks and swans are there now surviving, drinking the ETP water for the last 10 years. So this is how we are. So we are showing our commitment to the environment. You can see they put the eggs also. Here we have put some this herbal trees in the ETP. We have an eco park here. This is an eco park in ETP. We have put ducks and swan, and this eggs will be laid down here in this area. The any non-conformity during the audit will be raised as a action. I told you, and we have to take a corrective action to ensure that this non-conformity will not happen in future. If you have any non-conformity with respect to environment management system, which has been identified through an audit or through any other applications. So when you have through a non-conformity, we raise a corrective action procedure, and that will be discussed to the management review. The non-conformities can be audits, monitoring, then employee suggestion to other sources. Continual improvement, I told you the standard says about the continual improvement. This eco park I told you. Actually, this is the waste. Actually, our sludge, our sludge is basically ferric hydroxide sludge. So for the waste sludge, we manufacture the bricks here. You can see here bricks. Bricks are not so strong, but these bricks will be used for some other applications. Like we provided ducks and cages for this ducks and swan with the bricks, and also the bricks for a very local construction, not so hard or good tensile strength, but we recycle the sludge, ETP sludge, and manufacture the bricks. And also we provided, this is used for our sludge is used as a manure. This being considered as a manure by the Central Pollution Control Board, which we are using for our gardening purpose, which is contain NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. You can see the different patterns which we made with sludge. Actually, our sludge is having silica, so it is no binding agent. Actually, we blend with some clay in the ratio 50% clay and 50% our ETP sludge. We made bricks, then this pots, lamps, etc. This actually the bricks we made with different combinations like sludge, then coconut fiber, sand, lime, and we find that it's a combination of sludge with coconut fiber and a starch solution. We will give a good binding action. So laterally, we made different combinations with each of the species and made bricks. So this is being done by some students from Trivandrum Engineering College in Environmental Engineering, and also from a Department of Environmental Science. Also, people have done a lot of projects, and we prove that this brick is having a application like bricks, and also for pots, and also for manure. Manure that is being established by the agricultural college, that our sludge is having manure value. And this is how we have done a compost. We made a composting with the ETP sludge and the dried leaves from the surroundings of the factory. There will be a lot of trees are there, sludge is there. So we made actually a compost with the ETP sludge, the dried leaves, and also the filtrate from the biogas plants. So this is how we provided aeration inside the chamber, and we have proved that it is having a value to compost. So once this layer is removed, we remove this compost, and also we provide fresh composting. So almost the incubation period is almost 3 months. So like that, we do a composting system in our factory with the dried leaves, then ETP sludge, and the biogas slurry. You can see the sprinkler of the ETP which made the treated water. Treated water we use for gardening, for floor washing, then ETP sprinklers, and also some water we are using for our discharging to outside. That we are recycling back using an RO process that will be implemented within 5 to 6 months. So this is a new concept now that we made a MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, the Gold Club, Trivandrum Gold Club. Actually, the Gold Club provide a water line in our ETP facility, and we have to provide a water to the pumping station, to the so that our treated water will be continuously pumping to the gold scrub, which is nearby, almost 2 to 3 kilometers. Through the pipeline, this pumping line is now what is going on. Within 1 month, our entire water from the treated effluent water will be going to the gold scrub for the almost 350 kl per day. Water is going to the gold scrub for irrigation purpose. So finally, I will make a 1 minute video of that also. So finally, let me conclude that an EMS is a combination of the people, policies, procedures, reviews, and plans to help address the environment issues, and which include the EMS elements like continuous improvement, management commitment, then formalization and awareness of system approach. So in the seminar brochure, there was a topic asked, which one of these more important? Either it is environment or industry or ecology. I can say very clearly that all are equally important to maintain a sustainable environment, especially for amalgamating. We should have an amalgamation of environment, industry, and ecology to maintain a sustainable development in our world. And for that, I'll give a quote like, nature being long with those who are wrong her, she is patient under abuse. But when abuse has gone so far, when the time of reckoning finally comes, she is equally slow to be upright and to turn away from the path. And I will conclude my presentation by giving a 1 minute video. And after that, we can have the question and answer session. So thank you. I will make the video now.
Now more than ever, we are confronted with the fragility of life and our connection to nature and our planet.
Is it audible?
Yes,
Nature
sir.
telling us that humankind is on the verge of a breakdown.
Is it audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's audible. You may continue, sir.
This World Environment Day.
This World Environment Day, held worldwide, it's time for nature.
It's time. Now more than ever, we are confronted with the fragility of life and our connection to nature and our planet. Nature is showing us that humankind is on the verge of a breakdown. At least 1 million plant and animal species are likely to disappear soon. We are on the verge of a mass extinction unlike anything humankind has ever seen. We rely on nature for our energy, for our food, and everything we need. We can fix this, but only if we act now. It's time to ensure we have a future. It's time for nature. Wake up.
Wake up. Wake up.
This World Environment Day.
This World Environment Day, held worldwide, it's time for nature.
It's time to show our leaders why nature matters.
Together or apart, juntos o separados.
Рядом или на расстоянии.
We will unite to make our voices heard.
We won't back down. We will not back down. We see real and lasting change to support this beautiful planet we call home.
Y reconectarnos emocionalmente con la naturaleza.
Tag your friends and leaders of corporations, companies, and governments.
To invite them to be part of the solution. We need the planet more than the planet needs us.
Your planet, my planet.
It's time for nature.
It's time for nature.
It's time for nature.
Llegó la hora de la naturaleza.
Thank you. This will be this is theme for the World Environment Day 2020, and so I hope you will be interested in this presentation. If you have any feedback, or please give your valuable feedback, whether it is positive or not. Then questions you can ask.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for this very insightful talk. I'm very sure each and every one of us present here benefited from this session. Now we'll have the Q&A session. The participants have posted their questions. Shall I proceed, sir?
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, one of the participants asked, sir, as the biotechnology industry uses a lot of toxic chemicals, could you give us some guidelines to implement environmentally safe procedures for their disposal at the level of educational institutions?
So for the process, now I told you, actually for biochemical, all industries, the same procedures like I told you, the collection, tank, the collection, the treatment of water like collection tank, then primary settling, chemical treatment, then aeration, all this can apply. This final treatment, aeration tank. And now we have another process called anaerobic. Now all the industries are processing the anaerobic process. So we can use a multiple effect evaporation. All the biochemical industries, the pharma industry, they are having a multiple effect evaporation system. For that, they are using a multiple effect evaporator, and the vapor being used, the gaseous emission which we are using back to the process for the generation of the gas, and the solid residue which we are using that we dispose or use for alternate application. So this effect, the process which I have shown that, plus the effect of the anaerobic digestion and the sludge digestion system, as well as the multiple effect evaporator system, will take care of the treatment system for a biochemical pharma industry. That will be done. But for chemical, for that, some industries, based on the criticality of the industries or depending on the type of waste, they are not following the chemical treatment. They directly follow a anaerobic digestion, then this multiple effect evaporator, then this after that they having a final polishing of treatment like the sand filter, etc. So the gas emission can be used for other applications. So these are one technology, and some of the industries, pharma industries, even though the legal legislation says that the treated water from pharma industries cannot be recycled because toxins may be there. But now some of the pharma companies they came also with the reusing the water for our treated application by implementation of the RO process. Like I told you about the ultrafiltration and RO, the treated water from the process. Because then in that case, no, they are not using the multiple effect evaporator. They will be using like the aeration and the secondary process, and the water from that will be used for a process called ultrafiltration. Then other filtration like reverse osmosis process. That water can be used back to the process for other applications. So that is the answer for the question. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Next question. There has been a lot of positive environmental changes happening since the COVID-19 lockdown started. But if there's so many terms and conditions to be taken care of, how and why a factory is still putting out so many harmful residues?
Okay. So that's a very good question. Actually, now as part of that, the Central Pollution Control Board, they have made a legislation for that. Before the COVID, after the start of industries, after the COVID, we have to follow a lot of environmental. They made an SOP how to have a system like this, like that. No? First, with respect to water, like I told you about the emission. Emission is that now they should have a system for cleaning of the chimneys. So immediately, irrespective of whether the chimneys are live or not, they should have a system for cleaning of chimneys. And also, there should not be ensured that it should be certain the emission level should be let out. Now, before that, now they should ensure the monitoring before starting the industry. They should have a system because the monitoring is not done on a continuous basis. The monitoring should be done immediately before discharging the emissions out. And also for water, regarding the water, now even the pollution control board, they randomly draw the sample water before starting the industries, and industries should immediately test the water after the start of their operations after the COVID breakdown, and the result should be sent to the pollution control board. And there are some do's and don'ts with respect to the usage of water, that environmental protection measures that should be followed as part of implementation startup after the COVID. That also they are given, like use of personal protective equipment, and these people should be properly, the people who are handling the waste treatment should be properly sanitized. There should be sanitizing system should be there. And before startup, all industries, sanitation system and the sound level, all the equipment should be checked whether any, because they are not continuously not operated for a large number of days, whether there is the bearings or any belts or any damage and over sound or noise is there, all these things will be taken care. And other than that, they should have a special instruction like the pest control system. It should be very effective, should be monitored, and pest control system should be implemented in all industries, etc. And it should be applicable to all the organizations, etc. And a sanitizing program should be there because all the employees as well as the other, even the sample which we are sending for testing also, that should be properly sanitized. All the containers is for keeping the samples of effluent, that should be properly sanitized. So all the systems, there are some do's and don'ts, and that all industries have been displayed at their or ETP or near the company premises, who are handling the responsible for doing the operation. So that is the answer for it. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. How can environmental management systems prevent current situations like COVID-19 in the future?
Okay, for future, this the COVID system actually the scenario is getting worse and worse. How the environment system, how the environment management system means that they are personally the first thing is the use of we have to have a proper control our environment premises. It should be clean, and there should be there should be clean, and even if the grass, even any like a grass something, we should be maintain a proper clean inside our premises and also the outside the premise also. Second thing is we should have a proper hygienic system. That hygiene, that's also very important thing. Hygienic system should be properly maintained. Other is for the medical facility, medical treatment. Actually, the medical checkups or we are doing once a day. That we have to do a system online monitoring for this to ensure that now they have no disease or any other complication relating with the COVID or something. For industries are concerned, we are more concerned about the entry exit protocol. So what we are doing is that we are providing a shower. Generally, now it's a mandatory that we have to provide a shower to have the proper disinfectant of the employees who are entering the organization, because they don't know how the from which background they are coming, etc. Because the numbers are more for all industries. So everybody should be sanitized through a tunnel. They should be properly sanitized. Then they should be there, and they should be having the proper PPEs. Now all the industries they have to provide the proper PPEs to ensure that, and they should have a proper medical system. The medical system should be there normally once in a year. That is mandatory. Now the system is going to change that. There will be constant medical checkups for all the employees who are working, especially in hazardous area and especially working in the this hazardous area, waste treatment area. And there should be like people. There should be minimum access to the other people, etc. And the effluents which we are doing, then there should be possible recovery of 100%. Then we are not supposed to discharge any effluent outside, because the 100%, that is the new about the new challenges about that. We should not discharge our effluent, should not contaminate, because now actually we are because since industries are not running, we have maintained a proper balanced ecosystem in the nearby wells, rivers, etc. There should not be any deterioration happens, and if any deterioration happens, it will definitely affect the nearby locality. So there will be stringent rule showing that the water should be discharged properly. The water should be discharged only within the factory. We are not supposed to discharge it outside. And the next is regarding the hazardous. The hazardous waste also, till this it is not being discharged, it should be properly disposed in a common TSD, common treatment and storage disposal facility. If it is there within the factory, inside the company premises, we can dispose that. We are not supposed to transport and discharge to our storage disposal. Most of the companies are sharing their the hazardous waste storage area. There should be a common treatment, storage, disposal facility of the hazardous waste. That cannot be done till this situation is under control. We should try to store that in our premises also, the industry premises also, till this situation is under control. So these are the major challenges, and these are the various remedies which need to be taken as part of the long-term commitment of the COVID-19.